Hey everyone, welcome to Real Estate Tips and Tricks. I'm Angela Fazio. That's my beautiful co-host Sam Staskal. And we have Chris and Jackie Durbin from Arizona. They're going to be talking to us about a real estate technique that is traditionally called farming, but they don't call it that. I'll let them talk and explain the way they do that. But I'm really excited because any kind of sales industry, if you're watching and you're in real estate, fantastic, because this is going to help you with real estate. But I don't care what kind of a sales business you're in or what you're trying to do. Relationships with other people is what makes success happen. And so this is really about a method, an intentional method of building relationship with other people. It's a putting process and procedure around the idea of building strong relationship. And Chris and Jackie Durbin do a fantastic job. You knew what I was going to say. A
Thank you. I
fantastic
love
job
you.
doing this. So welcome, Chris and Jackie. Hi, Sam. Nice to see you today. And please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Do you want to go first?
I'll go first because you talk long. Okay, so I am. He talks a lot. So I'm Jackie. I'm the other half of the D team. And when we went into real estate, I was like, wow, I don't know what to do because I was a teacher for 20 years. But one of the things where I didn't understand about sales, I understood about relationships. So when Chris kind of introduced to me, like, hey, this is how we're going to do real estate, I was like, yes, I just get to make friends. I love this idea. And so I'll let him describe like himself and then
What is it?
how we,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of,
And this is Chris.
it goes back to way back. We're from Louisville, Kentucky, right? So we're a Midwestern city in a southern state. So we get the best of the both, the Midwest attitude and the Southern attitude, which is all about, hey y'all, it's a very friendly, relational type of attitude. And it goes back to Louisville. We live in a small community called Heights Point, and for the better part of the word, we were kind of like the mayors of Heights Point. We knew all the restaurant owners. We knew all the we knew all the different plumbers or drywall guys or anybody in that particular neighborhood.
A lot of the restaurants because I don't like to cook.
Yeah, because we never wanted to go very far anyway, right? So, and I'm a homebody, and that kind of that really helped out in terms of let's just keep it at home. But we have a very missional approach to our business in the sense that it is relationships. It is about, I call it kingdom building for the most part. It's about propping others up. And the best way that we knew how to do that was, okay, how are we going to grow our business and grow everybody else's business at the same time? Well, let's start with an outward approach, and let's develop a place where all these business owners can come together and feed off of each other. Because, to be realistic, back home we don't have 2,000 home neighborhoods. We live in a small town inside a small town in the East Valley, right? So most of your neighborhoods are 1,000 homes, 2,000 home neighborhoods, and they're small communities. They're like literally small towns. They have their own school, they have their own bus transport, they have all these own things. They have their own business support, their own business network. So we decided early on, like, okay, this comes from a pastor a long time ago, said the greatest mission you have is the mission across the street. And that's really where our business took off with this whole farming thing. So let's just go back real quick. We don't call it farming anymore. We just call it neighborhood marketing or neighborhood networking. It sounds a lot cleaner. It doesn't sound like it's a bad word sometimes. I think farming has a connotation to the general public, like they feel like they're being farmed or they're being trained.
Like cows and manure, chickens and goats.
Even though we both were born and raised on farms.
Exactly. I should have brought a pitchfork.
So I had a buddy of mine, Johnny Otto. We talked about this he's a lender here in this spot. We talked about this for a solid year before we actually kicked it off. So it goes back to we were in a neighborhood Facebook group. It was ran by another agent who gave me a certain amount of freedom to advertise our business and talk about things. She eventually sold that group off to another agent who cut us out. Like, if you want to advertise,
they kicked us off.
If you want to advertise, you advertise through me. I'm like, well, that's not what we're doing. We're not advertising. We're building relationships, and we're building a network of businesses together so everybody can grow. We're raising the tide for all the ships. And so we started our own thing. So we started a neighborhood group called Sun Grows Friends. with the premise that we're going to raise the tide for all the business owners and build a community within our community. We hired a bunch of teenagers. We went around. We handed out flyers.
Just regular old, like, colored paper, black print. Yeah. Hey, come join the cool kids.
But, stacks of colored paper for like $1 a stack. And we just printed black and white comics.
Wait, what did you say? What did you put on your flyer?
Join the fun at SunGirlsFriends.
Yep.
.com.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
It didn't say join the, on behalf of the D team, on behalf of Chris and Jackie Durbin, realtors in the East Valley. It just said join.
Nothing on there said anything about real estate.
Yeah, it just said join this group. It's for local businesses and building community. And I had this vision. So I had a landscaper. His name was Juan Guerrero, who passed away about a year and a half, a little over a year ago for COVID. But he came to the house and he was like, yeah, how many yards you do in the neighborhood? He's like, oh, I don't know, 5 or 6. I'm like, all right, I got this vision I want to share with you. I want to build this thing where I can get all the businesses here and I can make everybody successful. And then we can just park our ship right down the middle of the tide when everything's nice and churning really well for everybody else. And then we can put our flagship down and tell our story. I want to tell your story first. I want to tell the screen printer story first. I want to tell the lady who does the street color nails or whatever first.
Color street.
See, what do I? Anybody that has a gig, right? And obviously we can go into the pandemic and how that boosted everybody's side gigs and whatnot. But I use Juan as an example because he bit right in. So I'm like, okay, I want to do this video. Let's do this video. Next time you come to my house, I want to do a video. I want to talk about you. You're going to tell your story. If you can't tell it, I can tell it for you since your English is kind of, it is what it is. Okay. So
hang on. So the day that they actually did the video, Chris had been out in the pool. So like not swimming, working. So like he gets covered in sweat. He comes in, he's like, I'm hot. I need to go take a nap. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So he goes upstairs. No sooner does his head hit the pillow and there's knock, knock, knock. Here's Juan. So Chris is sweaty, nasty, tired, a little grouchy, and he walked downstairs. So go ahead, finish up.
You guys are too cute.
Juan's a mess. Juan's like, we always joked around. He was like my Mexican brother. We both were built the same short, stocky guys, and talk fast and all this stuff. So this video with Juan, we're both kind of in a mess, and he's telling a story. We put it on the group, and that was kind of the start of something that we didn't know how big it was going to get, because now we were doing that with every other small business owner in the neighborhood.
Okay, so hold on a second. So just in case somebody just joined, what we're talking about is how Chris and Jackie have built relationships within a neighborhood, right? They're going to call it neighborhood marketing. You might have heard it called farming. And so the steps they've taken so far is they just started a Facebook group. They announced it, come join the fun. Come join the fun. And then they said, okay, I want to know everybody. What is your business? What's your business? Mm-hmm. Let me highlight you. Let me tell everyone in the group about you, so that if your business grows and your business grows and your business grows, then we've come from a place of value. We've enhanced people's lives. And then you can say, hey, you guys, we're real estate agents, right? That's our business. We've talked about your business. Now this is our business, right? Mm-hmm. So that was your concept. So that I caught everyone up. Okay, go ahead.
So Juan went from 6 yards to how many?
In about 2 years' time, Juan went from 6 yards to over 65 yards.
In one neighborhood.
Up.
And for
that's
one group.
Awesome. Wow.
That's just one business. I have a handyman in the neighborhood who is booked out like 3 weeks in advance at all times now. Mm-hmm. You have screen printers in the neighborhood. There's a lady who actually did this hat for me, was a lady in the neighborhood. She's booked out weeks in advance. I mean, we had to order, so we ordered closing gifts from a lady who makes these wood signs.
In the neighborhood.
The home or welcome or whatever else. Who lives in the neighborhood. She's booked out a month in advance for anything that you want to order from her because of the group that we created for them.
So in creating this group, one of the things that we noticed, like when you moved to Arizona, like we needed to kind of Kentuckify, that's a new word, the neighborhood. We needed everyone to have a different outlook, because one of the things we noticed when we moved in, nobody knew who their neighbors were. Like they didn't even know the person who lived next door.
Somewhere else.
And so
I never know my neighbors.
No, and like we came from a place, like if you're making a cake and you don't have an egg, you go to your neighbor and they give you an egg. Like that's just the way that we grew up. And so we're like, okay, we really want to create this community here. So one of the first couples that we met, who are now some of our best friends, during COVID, she was diagnosed with cancer and her husband lost his job in the same week. And it was right around Christmas time. And we're like, we have to figure out a way to help them. So all of these people in the group start messaging us and they're like, hey, we want to help this family. What can we do? What can we do? Within a week's time, we raised what? $7,000?
It's about 7,000
Cash.
About the same amount in like food, clothes, presents, gas cards.
We actually had a dentist who, because I guess like when you're going through chemo, it really affects the enamel and like your teeth. We had a dentist who volunteered all of his time, completely 100% free to take care of all of her dental needs. And that was just from that group.
Wait a minute, you guys. Wait a minute. Are you telling me just be good humans? Like, just be good humans to each other. We were just talking about this yesterday or Saturday, actually, because we should be in the business of people, right?
Yes.
And when you're in the business of people, whatever you're doing has a better chance of prospering.
Yes.
And so you said to yourself, I'm just going to be in the business of people, be good humans, love on my neighbors, meet people's needs. And guess what? If they want to buy a house or get my yard
Here
done,
I am.
or make a sign or make a hat, then we're going to think of each other first because we're in the business of people. It's not that complicated, you guys. I mean, what an awesome way to execute your business.
Yeah. Because like a lot of people fail in doing this because they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They're doing it because they don't want to show houses outside of their neighborhood. They want to make a lot of money. Hey, I'm just going to go tell everybody I can sell their house and then they'll want to pick me. People see right through that. What they have to see is authentically you are there to better the community. And it's not something that happens overnight. Like we've been doing this since we moved here. This has been like, we're in year 4 now, right? 3?
It'll be 3 years on this group in May next month.
Yeah.
Year 3. We'll have a big event. So, and that's another thing too, that we do. We host a lot of block parties. We host donuts once a month. We call it drive up donuts. We park in front of the school. Myself and a lending partner will go out there. We'll hand out a bunch of donuts. We'll get all the kids out and they'll play on the playground. And it's just a very community thing that everybody looks forward to, right?
You're shaking babies and kissing hands.
Shaking babies and kissing hands.
That's what he says.
Yes, that was
never shake the baby. Jackie, remind me to tell you that story about never shake the baby. I'll tell you later. It's not suitable for video.
No, it's not.
So I don't know how deep you want us to get into the logistical portion.
Here's what I want you to do, Chris. Here's what I want you to do, because I want people. I think we all get the concept of you went out of your way to build relationships. We got some really practical tips, like how did you do that? You built a Facebook group, you announced it, and then you brought value into the group by highlighting local businesses through video and introductions. And I hear that you're doing community activities such as the block parties and handing out donuts and letting people know if there's a need in the neighborhood. Can you give us maybe 3 really, because you guys have been doing this for 3 years. Anything worthwhile takes that long to really build and make robust. Anything worthwhile. So if you think this is going to happen in a year, it's not, right? So can you give our audience 3 to 5 really practical tips if they want to get started, aside from what you've already laid out? Is there 3 to 5 practical tips that have been really helpful in you, because you have to process and proceduralize this, right? Or it doesn't work. So maybe that would be really helpful.
Well, in terms of logistics of running a group, and I think where a lot of people miss the mark is, like, again, it goes with relationships, talking about all that. It goes with not talking about yourself, but it's creating engaging content consistently for a very long time, because social media is there. It's daytime television. Let's call it what it is, right? People are on social media to escape from whatever is going on in their life, to get entertained, to be a part of something. So, and if you've got to dive into how the Facebook algorithms work. So it goes from, your personal wall to groups to your pages and all this other stuff. Groups are always put up to the front because Facebook wants people on their app all the time. And the way to get people on the app all the time and people in your group is to create content that is engaging, not just like, here's today's market update. Here's this week's market update. That stuff gets very boring over time, right?
Right.
We created early on, every day had a theme. Motivation Monday, Transformation Tuesday, Wacky Wednesday, Thursday, Flex Friday, Showcase Saturday, and Service Sunday. That's a lot of content to create over a week's time. So we did that for about a year, and I went back, and you can look at your
algorithms.
You can look at your back office. We'll call it the back office, and see what days and what times and what activities draw the most value for your group. So for us, we found that Motivation Monday was a good one. Flex Friday, which was our business spotlight, was a good one. And then Wacky Wednesday, which was basically what it is. It's like post your funny jokes, GIFs, memes.
Needs to be
links,
PG.
videos, whatever. PG-13-ish, right? And
don't be putting anything too racy.
And we probably get 200 comments and about 500 likes every week just from that. So the more content that you create that's engaging, the more that group is always want to stay to the top of somebody's feed. So if logistically speaking, that's what you want. You want to stay in front of people as a business. And, and for whatever reason you do, whether you're a plumber or not, you want to be able to be in somebody's vision at all times. People are on Facebook all the time. And as long as we're creating those engagements. So like yesterday, for example, Sunday, I noticed that we were kind of had a downtick in terms of, getting a lot of traffic to the group. Well, created this group, tell me what state you're from by using 2 emojis. And there's 210 comments this morning on there. Mm-hmm. Because it's a fun little game that people can play.
Are you being creative with that? Are you copying? Are you ripping off and duplicating? Do you batch do these kinds of things?
He doesn't batch anything.
Okay.
No, I don't. So a lot of times it's like comedians, right? Comedians rip off each other all the time. Mm-hmm. And, and a lot of real estate agents rip off good real estate agents. I wouldn't say rip off, but, you see something that's engaging. That's going to be something that's really engaging here. And, and I'll test things out on my own too, or I'll just tweak something that somebody else did on their own group or own page or whatever else. But a lot of times it's just finding things, other sources, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, anything else that I might see that looks entertaining and engaging, I'll throw that on there. Let's make a mixtape, neighbors. So we'll have a big picture of a cassette tape. It'll be mixtape, and everybody picks their song, and we'll have our own neighborhood mixtape. Little things like that to create engagement.
Yeah.
But again,
I have a question for you.
It's about engagement.
So in your Facebook group, are there naturally some leaders that arise in your neighborhood that you solicit to engage more? I mean,
yes.
do you make them an administrator, or do you ask them to participate more?
Yes. So we have 3 other moderators besides ourselves, just because once the group got to over 1,000 people, it got to be a lot. And Facebook is babysitting sometimes because and we have very clear rules on our page. There's no political posts. There's no jabs. We're not cussing. We're not doing any of that stuff. If you want to do that, put it on your own page. There may be a little bit of, but don't curse at each other. Keep it kind, be civil to each other. No name calling. This is not a sales group. If you want to sell your patio furniture, this is not the page for that. Go to the neighborhood yard sale group, and here's the link to that. So we have all these other subgroups. If your dog got lost or whatever like that, or you're selling, there's no selling on this page at all. But we do allow other real estate agents in the group, because a lot of groups, they're like, oh, we don't want you to sell. We actually had one. It was like Showcase Saturday. You can put your open house. Yeah. And the only stipulation was your squeeze page cannot be lead capturing. Nobody wanted to do it. So it's like, well, then
nobody did it.
Yeah. Because they wanted to be able to get leads from it. It's like, well, that's not, let's not do that.
That's not the flavor of your group.
Exactly.
Okay. So we only have a few minutes left. So you've given us, I really think anybody who's listening and wants to have a beginning blueprint of how to pull something like this off, you've given it to them. But maybe one more tip that you could give, a final tip that you would give the audience that would help them if they want to engage.
Can I get something clarified first? So just so I'm understanding right, the only person that can create a post on this page is you and the other moderators, right?
No.
It's a group.
Anybody can.
Anybody can. Okay, I thought maybe you were having them comment under certain things, but anybody can post on there.
Like, for example, there was a gentleman yesterday who was like, hey, we just moved to the neighborhood and looked for golf partners. Well, that thing took off. And now we're in the process of probably developing our own Sun Girls Golf League for men and women, 25, 30 people.
Yeah, because I was like, excuse me, I like to play golf too.
You brought this up, Jordan. Guess who's going to take care of it? You are.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'll give mine, and Jackie has one. You cannot do this and do it successfully if you don't genuinely care about the people that you're living with.
Yeah.
Right.
And
You can't sustain it.
And we have, and our entire outline of how to do this is with it's CARE, CARE. And it has, I mean, obviously different words for the C, the A, the R, and the E. But when you go and look at our presentation about how to talk, how to do something like this, you see CARE in big giant print. Because if you don't care about these people, it's not going to work. You have to genuinely love them.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second. So honest, if I'm being really transparent, I would never do that, right? I would never do that because I tend to like to contribute in different ways than that highly social setting, right? And so that's a really good point. It's not going to work if it doesn't light you up, right? So the things that I do to contribute to be a good human and to help people has to do with something that lights me up. So that's a really good point that you said, because just because you follow the steps, if you don't have the passion and the heart behind it, it's going to fail. Right?
Yeah.
Good point.
So my only tip would be, it needs to be fun. Like, make it fun for you. Like, the way that we created it works for us because it's fun for us. Like, we came into Arizona knowing no one. And so it's fun for us because not only are we getting to know our neighbors, but now like we're making friends. Like, all of our friends live in that neighborhood. Like, we all get together. Like, we hang out. Our kids hang out. I know, right?
I don't live in your neighborhood.
Well,
you just can't live in your neighborhood yet.
Angela, can you drop a link to their page or to their group in the comments?
It's sungrovesfriends.com.
It's funny, as you made a comment, and it's like, a lot of people are like, I don't like people. I couldn't do this. I don't like people. You don't have to like people. You're just commanded to love people.
Right.
And there's a difference, right? There's a difference between liking people and loving people. There's a lot of people we don't like, but we love them anyway.
I agree. You guys, literally, Sam, do you have any other questions or clarifications you want from these two? You hit it out of the park. I think that not only was it a great vision for people to kind of think about and try to make their own, but you gave lots and lots of practical steps. And that's what real estate tips and tricks. You did a great job, you guys. Thank you so much for spending time with us today and sharing what you guys do.
Thank you for having us. This was an honor.
And if anybody wants to join the group just to see like what we've done, so that way you can duplicate it for yourself, when you join the group, you have to answer questions. Just in one of the answers, just say, I'm a realtor and I saw you on Tips and Tricks, and we'll just go ahead and admit you in there.
Okay.
Awesome. That's very gracious and generous.
You're welcome.
All right, you guys, you have a super fan in Sam Powell out there.
We love Sam Powell. Sam's going to be here like next week. I'm so excited.
So exciting. Yes, so she's coming to Flourish. Hi, Sam. Thank God.
Yes, she's coming to Flourish. She's so excited. Awesome. She's actually coming in early for Flourish.
Okay, so I'm going to put a shameless plug. Any ladies out there that can get yourself out to Chandler, Arizona, April 20th through the 22nd is a women's event called Flourish, and you would not regret a single moment of it. You just need to go to theflourishevent.com. I'll put it in the comments.
I'll be there.
And
yay!
And Sam's famous, so you should come and meet her.
Yes,
there's the website. All right, you guys, thank you again, and I will see all of you later. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Have a great day, guys.